I am going to demonstrate how to determine the x and y intercept and the slope from an equation given in the form ax plus by equals c form. This is also commonly known as standard form, and if you notice, in the standard form the x and y are on the same side of the street. Okay, so the equation is not solved for y like it is in slope-intercept form. Okay, which also means that this a is not the slope. Okay, to get the x and y intercepts is actually quite easy when it's in this form. First, you want to make yourself a graphic organizer. And let's remind ourselves what the x and y intercept means. The x and y intercept simply means that we need a value for y when x is 0. Okay, the value for y when x is 0. That will give you the y-intercept. The x-intercept is the value for x when y is 0. So you can see if we make this little t-chart with the zeros in it, it kind of creates a graphic organizer for us. And we just read the graphic organizer. It says, hey, let x equal 0. And then let's find y. And that's all you do. So if I take, for example, over here number 1, if I go ahead and take x plus 4y equals 4, okay, and I look at my graphic organizer and I said let x equal 0. So I go ahead and where I see an x, I'm going to put a 0 plus 4y equals 4. Well, 0 plus 4y, that's simply 4y equals 4. Divide both sides by 4, and y equals 1. And there we have 1 as our y-intercept. Then we can go ahead and take, or look at our graphic organizer and we see, hey, y needs to be 0 now. We get to find x. So if we take our original equation, x plus 4y equals 4, we let y equal 0, x plus 4 times 0 equals 4. Well, 4 times 0 is 0, so this cancels, and we get x equals 4. And you can see we get a nice, quick little solution set there. Okay, and this just means that our y-intercept is the point 0, 1, and our x-intercept is the point 4, 0. Okay, now we still need to find the slope. And to get the slope, you can get that real easily by once again taking the original equation, x plus 4y equals 4, and then actually solving it for y. So if we solve this for y, draw our street, subtract x, okay, and that cancels, and we're left with 4y on this side equals a minus x plus 4. And if we divide everything by 4, we get y is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 1. And our slope is the coefficient of the x because this equation is now solved for y. So m equals negative 1/4. Well, now let's try the same thing, only we'll use a different equation. Okay, so this equation is 3x minus 2y equals 4. Okay, so just like before, we're going to start with the t-chart. X and y. We want to know, hey, what's the value of y when x is 0? And then we also want to know the value of x when y is 0. Okay, so let's start with the pink one first. Pink one basically says let x equal 0. Find y. So we're going to do that. We're going to have 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 4. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, so that cancels. So we're going to divide by negative 2, because that's what's left, and y is equal to negative 2. Okay? And then to find the x-intercept, we're going to let y equal 0, and we're going to find x. So we're going to take 3x minus 2 times 0 equals 4. Well, negative 2 times 0 is 0, so we're left with 3x equals 4. And we just simply have to divide by 3, and x equals 4/3. So let's write that up here. Okay, so our y-intercept is 0, negative 2, and then our x-intercept is 4/3, 0. Well, now we need to find our slope. Well, we can get the slope. We take our original equation, solve for y, which means we're going to put this equation in slope-intercept form. So let's box the term we're solving for. Okay, draw our street, which means we're going to subtract 3x, and we're not going to line them up because they're not friends, they're not like terms. We get to bring down, well, this cancels, we get a minus 2y equals a negative 3x plus 4. Well, if we divide everything by negative 2, we're left with y equals a negative divided by negative is a positive, so now we have a positive 3/2 x, and then you have a positive divided by a negative, which means we get minus 2. Okay, so this tells us we have a y-intercept of 0, negative 2, which is really reconfirmed right here. We have a x-intercept of 4/3, and then finally we have a slope of positive 3/2. Alright, let's try another example. Okay, again we want the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and the slope of the equation y equals 5. Well, in the equation y equals 5, okay, let's remind ourselves what this looks like. This simply says, here's our x-axis, here's our y-axis, that this line crosses where y equals 5. So if 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we say y equals 5 here, this just has this horizontal line drawing through it, which makes this super easy. So if we were to make a t-chart, and we have x and y, well, if x is 0, guess what? Y is 5. Okay? And when y is 0, well, x is nothing. Okay? And this is because for a line where it said y equals 5, it makes a horizontal line. So our y-intercept, we know, is 0, 5. But our x-intercept right here is nothing. There is no x-intercept. If you look at the graph, this line right here does not cross the x-axis, so there is no x-intercept. And then finally the slope, this is like a floor, it goes straight across, so there's a floor, and the floor is really easy to walk on, which means the slope is so small that that slope is actually equal to 0. And let's do one more equation. Okay, let's do one more example. Same thing, x-intercept, y-intercept, and the slope of the equation. Okay, so we have 3x minus 4y equals negative 4. And I'm going to go ahead and make my x and y t-chart, my little graphic organizer. So I'm going to let x equal 0, and then later on I'll let y equal 0. So I go ahead and I'm going to let x equal 0. So I'm going to take 3 times 0, oops, I'm going to make that blue, minus 4y equals negative 4. Well, this cancels. Minus 4y equals negative 4. So if I divide both sides by negative 4, I get y equals 1. So here's the first part. There's the first part of our coordinates, that's our y-intercept. Well, we'll do the same thing, only this time we're going to let y equal 0. So we go ahead and take 3x minus 4, and I'm going to let y equal 0 equals a minus 4. Well, 4 times 0 is 0, so that cancels, and we're left with 3x equals a negative 4. So now we divide both sides by 3, and x equals a negative 4/3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in there. X equals a negative 4/3. So now I have my y-intercept, my x-intercept, I need my slope. So I go back to my original equation, 3x minus 4y equals negative 4. I need it in slope-intercept form. So I have to solve this for y. So I could get my y by itself. I'm going to box it and draw the street. My minus 3x does not make it inside the box. I'm left with a negative 4y over here equal to minus 4 minus 3x. Now I have to divide everything by negative 4. That cancels. And y equals negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. Okay. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. And then we have 3 divided by negative 4, which is a negative 3/4 x, which means my slope, oh, careful, we had a minus 3x there, so we had a negative divided by negative, so that's actually a positive 3/4. So we have a slope of 3/4. And then go back to our original, just to remind ourselves, we had a y-intercept of 0, 1, and we had an x-intercept of negative 4/3, 0. And there you have it.